Hi, this video is to show you how to fix a SRAM Force 1 or any double tap shifter after the cable has slipped out of its spool and damaged the retaining socket. The SRAM double tap shifters have a fatal flaw. If the shift cable backs out of the retaining slot, it can destroy the plastic spool. Once this happens, you must disassemble the shifter to clear the jam and be at risk of your next rides becoming single speed all of a sudden. SRAM will not provide the simple plastic part to repair it. Their only solution is to buy a whole new shifter. Here you can see the cable pull spool removed from the shifter, but with the cable in its proper place. You can see that there is a slot where the cable can pass through. Unfortunately, this should not be there. You'll also notice that the remaining outer edge of the socket is minimal. Here you can see it after the cable has been removed. And here, looking straight down. It almost looks like it should be this way with the access slot. In fact, the first time it failed and I had to disassemble the shifter to get the cable freed, I just assumed it was normal. After the second time, I looked up how it was supposed to look and reached out to SRAM Rider Sport for advice. They came back with a correct diagnosis, and if it were still under warranty, they might replace it. But they might not, as they see it as a damage rather than a defect. But the worst part is that they will not sell the part. A tiny, vulnerable plastic part can cripple the entire shifter. Their official solution is to buy a whole new $200 shifter and throw away the old one. This is crazy. Fortunately, a company called Ratio Technologies in the UK realized something as they were building and selling upgrade kits for upgrading shifters from 11 to 12 speeds. The spool they were making for these kits would be useful to people who were only trying to repair their 11-speed units, so they sell it as a replacement part. They've also made a video about how to install it, but I thought it might be worth one showing a civilian non-expert doing it for those of you who might need to do it yourself. Enjoy! Okay, the first step is to get once you have removed the drifter from your handlebar, which of course is a challenge if you've got hydraulics. I left mine attached, fortunately. It's externally routed, so the brake's still attached back there. And the cable's going to get replaced after this exercise anyway. But then you have 3 screws. There's one that already came out here, one on top, and one down here. You pull these out. Put them where you won't lose them. This top one is a little tricky. Make sure you've got a small screwdriver, Phillips head of course, or in this case it's actually a GIS, but I don't think it is, and a narrow tip to get in there. And the cover comes off cleanly, and this is where we'll see the problem. So if you look right here, you will see the defect. So this is the part that is not supposed to look like that. We'll see the corrected one a little bit. It should be closed across here. Apparently, when the head comes dislodged at some point, it can pull through and destroy it. So that's the fun we've got going on there. Put it back into position. Let's get the cable out of here. Okay, next step, after you've gotten this open, is they say to get it into the 7th gear position to make it simplest. So we will just release click it till it hits the number 1 gear here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, next step is you need to pull the retaining screw out. So this is just here. It's just blocking the shaft we're going to remove. So we're going to come in here and turn it back carefully until it's clear of the shaft in there. You don't need to get it all the way out, just clear the shaft. And then this is the cute little part, is you need to take an M2.5, an unusual size, screw, and thread it in there. We're doing this to give ourselves a handle. So that's really the point. The point here, it's a temporary tool as a handle. There is another approach I've seen others do where they can get in here with pick and push it out, but frankly with a hydraulic one, I'm not sure that's really a viable option as you get in here, because I think with the cable actuated version of this, there's a little more space forward to get in there. In fact, I can't even see if it's even possible in this one. Okay, so we've screwed this in till it stops. No need to tighten it, just till it stops. Then we're going to hold this down, and we're going to use that to pull the axle out, like you see here. Now there's some warning to hang on to the ratchet assembly as you, there we go, remove the shifter unit itself. I think we'll clean that up before we put it back in as well. And then the idea is to carefully remove this piece. And watching out for the springs that are in here as well. There we go. All right, we set this aside. You can see we now have the assembly apart. All right, so I've pulled the old one off. It just slides off. There are no actual retention devices. It's just a friction fit, and then placed the replacement unit on here in the same orientation so that as it comes through. Now you'll notice that this one does not have a hole here, unlike the old one, the red one on the right, that you can see how it's been cut apart. So this is the difference we're going to see. So now we've got to swap the spring out. Figure out how this releases. Just pop it over. There's a small retention piece right here that holds it in. The pin goes in there. So we'll put it back in again the same way. There we go. So the technique is to hook it over here at this side and then pull the remaining piece around the axle there. So now you have a complete piece here. So I'm going to go clean this. You guys don't need to see that. Okay, now comes the fun part, reassembly. So we start off with the ratchet unit, and we have to drop it in place. And here behind, keep this out of the way. Okay, and now the trick for getting this in here is to hold this out of the way as you drop it in with the ratchet set back. Okay, which will also spring that, and then you bring it around until you pull this out of the way. So I'm going to change the rules a little bit from what they did. They waited till it was in position to put the axle in. I'm going to put the axle in now to hold it in place. You can see in here you just got to get the holes aligned and then drop it through. So that should keep it in place while we try and ratchet this thing. So 10, 9, 8, 7. We're back in position. So we have the ratchet in. We're going to push this shaft in until you can feel it hit flush back here, so it's ready to go, but not further. Okay, so one thing to note in here is to make sure your spring is correctly in the slot here, and that when you put this shaft back in, you never took the screw out. Keep it in there so you don't put it in backwards. If you do put it in backwards, with this model, apparently you cannot get it pushed out the other way, so you're in deep trouble. So just keep the screw in, then you can't make that mistake. So now it's time to put this back in, and you want to make sure that this spring here, at the tip, let's point it with a screwdriver, that this spring ends up in this slot right here. Okay. Push it in there. this is seated all the way. Now let's take a pause for a moment. While I was cleaning, I learned a really bad thing to do. If you come in here and you want to clean some gunk out of here, do not push on this. This is a non-retained pin. It's retained on this side, but not on this side. So when you push here, you push it all the way out and your spring comes popping out, and it's just scary. You don't want to do it. You might drop the parts. So if you're going to push something through to clean it, do it from this side. And just hold it together. But that was while I was cleaning out just the gunk, which I recommend doing as long as you've got it open, and save yourself some trouble down the road. Make sure that the spring is in the retainer, which it is not. Let's try it again. All right, and we push the shaft through all the way to hold it in place. There's a final little piece where it's got to go in the hole on the far side. You can see it's not there yet because this end isn't driven in all the way. You just kind of have to wiggle it around to find. There it is. So now it's seated home, and this should work. Yay! We have at least a working ratchet mechanism. All right, so from that point, you can come in and remove the screw that you use as a tool. And reset the lock screw. You see how it's driving in there behind the shaft, and it'll just bind home right there, and that's keeping it from coming out. It's not holding it in. It's a retention screw. All right, so there you go. Okay, now that it's all reassembled, let's re-lubricate things a little bit. So Ratio recommends just a touch of grease on the ratchet itself. I would not want to overdo that because it's just going to be a grime magnet. But we'll put a little bit on there, and give it a click through to make sure it's still working right. And in my case, this was not an official recommendation from Ratio, but I'm going to drop just a little bit of Tri-Flow down in here on the surfaces that move. And then damp up the extra, because that's just, again, going to be a dirt magnet. And there you go. Okay, now it's time to put the screws back in and put the cover back on. So now that we've checked to make sure it works, put the cover back on, make sure that the hydraulic lines are in the right place. One screw there, one screw here on the top, which I like to start with because it kind of holds everything in place readily. These are tiny little screws. And remember, you're going plastic into plastic, so you don't go too tight. Just snug them up. Or not plastic into plastic, but you're screwing into plastic. So we have a reassembled shifter and brake unit that should now be able to work properly for all of the good uses that we have for it. A little thing kind of worth noting, as you see down here, we now have a nice clean hole for feeding the cable in once we reassemble all this.